Well, hello and welcome to this exercise on uh, probability without replacement, an iGCSE GCSE 91 type question, and I think this is probably looking at grade 8, grade 7 type question. Right, and it says bag X contains 9 blue dice and 18 red dice, while bag Y contains 7 blue dice and 14 red dice. Now, Liz picks a die at random from bag X, and then she puts the die into bag Y. The Mike then picks a die from bag Y. Okay. The question then is, show that the probability of Liz picking a blue die is equal to the probability of Mike picking a blue die. Okay, now suppose Liz picks a blue die. The probability of that happening will be 1/3. Now, if she then puts this blue die into bag Y, the number of blue dice in, excuse my spelling there, the number of blue dice in bag Y will then be 8. The probability of Mike picking a blue die will depend on the probability of Liz picking a blue die and the probability of Mike picking a blue die from bag Y. And that will be 1/3 multiplied by 8/22, and that's equal to 8/66, because we've now got 8 blue dice in bag Y. Okay. Now, what if Liz picked a red die to start with and then puts it back into bag Y? The number of red dice in bag Y would then be 15. So the probability of Mike picking a blue die this time around will depend on the probability of Liz picking a red die and the probability of Mike picking a blue die. And that would be 18/27 for Liz picking a red die and 7/22 for Mike picking a blue die. Okay, and this would then reduce to 14/66. Now, altogether, the probability of Mike picking a blue die will depend on whether Liz picked a blue die, which is there, or Liz picking a red die and then putting it back into bag Y, and then Mike picking a blue die, which is this one here. And because we got the word or, we then add. So we add 8/66 and 14/66, and that gives us 1/3. So both probabilities are the same, which is 1/3. And I do hope all that made some sense, and please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and bye bye now. Bye bye.